has concluded. Members on both sides, the Leader of the Opposition has the call.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Prime Minister, and I just ask again. Prime Minister, how much have power bills for Australians gone up since the Liberals formed government in 2013?
Members on both sides, the Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you. Well, Mr Speaker, we of course have seen increases in power prices recently. Of course we have. They came down significantly when the coalition came into government and the carbon tax was abolished. They came down significantly, and we have seen them going up again recently. And the reason they've been going up is because of the impact of decisions taken by the Labor Party. The Labor Party, Mr Speaker, they can wave their arms around and shout as much as they like, but it was the Labor Party. It was the Labor Party that allowed gas to be exported without any protection for the domestic market. None. They did not give any thought to the protection of the Australian market. They did nothing to ensure that gas would be developed in onshore
Prime Minister
Victoria.
will resume his seat. Members on both sides will cease interjecting. The one thing I'll disagree with the Prime Minister on, they can't shout as much as they want, and anyone that continues to do so will be leaving under 94A. The Manager of Opposition Business on a point of order. I think I know which one.
That's right, Speaker. Direct relevance. This question
the
is
Manager of Opposition Business will resume his seat. I'm ready to rule on the matter. The Prime Minister, whilst it was a short, tight question, has addressed the substance of it very early on, and he's entitled to remain on the policy topic. The Prime Minister is in order.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Thank you. Mr Speaker, the important focus for all of us here should be ensuring that Australians' electricity prices are lower and that electricity is reliable. Not just today and tomorrow, and I've described the steps we're taking to ensure that, but in the years ahead, in the years and indeed decades ahead. And that requires careful planning. Now, the Leader of the Opposition groans when you talk about careful planning. Well, he might. He is a complete stranger to it, Mr Speaker. He has never thought more than a moment ahead in time. All tactics, no strategy. Typical about what he said about Liddell. When he talked about when Liddell closure, the implications of that was made plain, he said that's an issue down the track. Well, that's what happened with Hazelwood. They closed on 5 months' notice or a bit less, and we saw a massive gap in dispatchable power. Now, had there been proper planning in place for that, which should have started years before, many, many years before, then that gap in dispatchability could have been taken up by something else. Perhaps it could have continued for a few more years, but the reality was the market fell off a cliff, and it's households and businesses that are paying the price. The same lack of planning was seen over gas, when the member for Port Adelaide first said we weren't warned, then he had to admit that he had been warned, he had to fess up, but the reality is, of course they were warned, and they ignored it. Why? Exactly. Because it was another issue down the track. That's the problem with Labor. No plan, no competence, all ideology, all idiocy.